Today we are reading from Canto 8, Chapter 14, verses 9 to 11. Sargam prajesha rupena dasyun hanyat swaradahu kala rupena sarvesham abhavaya prataguna. In the form of Prajapati Marichi, the Supreme Personality of Godhead creates progeny. Becoming the king, he kills the thieves and rogues, and in the form of time, he annihilates everything. All the different qualities of material existence should be understood to be qualities of the Supreme Personality of God. Text 10 translation. People in general are bewildered by the illusory energy, and therefore they try to find the absolute truth, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, through various types of research and philosophical speculation. Nonetheless, they are unable to see the Supreme Lord. Whatever actions and reactions take place for the creation, maintenance, and annihilation of this material world are actually brought about by the one Supreme Person. There are many varieties of philosophers trying to search for the ultimate cause under different names and forms, but they are unable to find the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, who explains in Bhagavad Gita that he is the origin of everything and the cause of all causes. Aham sarvasya prabhavaha. This inability is due to the illusory energy of the Supreme Lord. Devotees therefore accept the Supreme Personality of Godhead as he is and remain happy simply by chanting the glories of the Lord. There's another verse to end this chapter, so we are including that today. In one kalpa, or one day of Brahma, there takes place many changes called vikalpas. O king, all of these have been previously described to you by me. Learned scholars who know the past, present, and future have ascertained that in one day of Brahma there are 14 months. There is no purport. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purports of the 8th canto, 14th chapter of the Srimad Bhagavatam, entitled The System of Universal Management. So here in this particular section, we are seeing how the Lord, in the form of Prajapati Marichi and in the form of Manu or kings, in the he does the creation, maintenance, and the destruction of the universe, literally saying. So in the form of Prajapati Maharishi, he creates progeny. That means he aids in creation. Becoming the king, he kills the thieves and rogues. That means he's protecting people. And in the form of time, he annihilates everything. That is destruction. So he is the one who is doing through various people and directly, and that means directly and indirectly, creation, maintenance, and destruction. So in the next purport, it is said that people in general are bewildered by the illusory energy. Therefore, they cannot find the absolute truth, because even though in their plain eyesight the supreme absolute truth is acting in terms of creation, maintenance, and destruction, they cannot actually see. Who in this world does not acknowledge that there is creation, maintenance, and annihilation happening right before our eyes? Every moment this is happening, and this is all happening because of the Supreme Lord. Still, there are various scholars who actually do a lot of research and philosophically speculate to find the absolute truth, and still they cannot. Some of them even come to a conclusion that there exists no absolute truth, there exists no higher power, there exists no God. So even after studying the whole material nature, they come to the conclusion that there exists no absolute truth. So that's why here Shukadeva Goswami is saying how people in general are bewildered by the illusory energy. So nonetheless, they are unable to see the Lord because of that illusory energy, in spite of their research and philosophical speculation. So in the purport, Prabhupada takes up the same theme, how whatever actions, reactions takes place, that is actually taking place by the Supreme Lord, because of the Supreme Lord. Still, there are many people who search but cannot find. Even though Krishna is saying Aham Sarvasya Prabhava, that everything is coming from him. So this inability, what is this? Inability is caused by the illusory energy of the Lord. So, and Prabhupada says, what is the difference between the devotees and the other scholars? Devotees accept the Supreme Lord as He is and remain happy simply by chanting the glories of the Lord. So the scholars, they are actually researching and still they can't find. Devotees, they accept the statement Aham Sarvasya Prabhava, they put faith, and because they accept the Supreme Lord as He is mentioned in the scriptures and by Guru and Sadhu and Shastra, so they remain happy by simply by chanting the glories of the Lord. So this is the theme here. So since we have been seeing a lot about Manus in this section, and just in my last presentation also, I had presented about the Manus. So I thought I'll take up a different theme today based on the purport. So the purport speaks about devotees accepting the Lord as He is. So this is the general, what do you call, argument or criticism against religion, that it does not apply reason. The people who don't have any intelligence or who are not analytical, they take up to spirituality. So that's the general idea. So today we will see there is a certain level of reason that is involved in accepting uh, devotional service, but there is also reason involved while practicing devotional service. So these are all two very diverse topics. So I'm taking the role of reason after we accept devotional service. So because these are two distinct areas, so that first I can cover both. So I'm just sticking to the section what is the role of reason or intelligence in the process of devotional service. Because by reading the purport, somebody may say, devotees don't use their intelligence. No, devotees actually use their intelligence. How they use their intelligence in the process of devotional service, today we will try to discuss. So I beg the blessings of everyone assembled. I'm just not able to see anyone because of my screen, but please give me a blessing. So generally people, as we were discussing, generally people think, oh, the reason and faith don't go together. Even while accepting, and many people criticize when they, in the practice also, in the practice of spirituality or any kind of yoga or religion, people think people don't apply any reason. They're just blindly following. So our bhakti yogis not encouraged to use their intelligence in their spiritual pursuit. Is that what the path of bhakti teaches their followers? Don't use your intelligence in the path of spiritual pursuit. Or does reason go against the path of bhakti? Is path of bhakti like unreasonable, like unintelligible or illogical? Or do we have to give up reason in the path of bhakti to know the Supreme Lord? So the next level is, if you have to actually understand God, you have to give up your reason. You have to give up all your intelligence. So today we will discuss what is the role of reason, knowledge, or intelligence in the path of bhakti. So I'm taking inspiration from the aspects given in this shastra, where it says there are 3 stages of spiritual advancement. So we all are very, in general, like very acquainted with this concept of sambandha gyan, abhideya, and prayojana. So these are the 3 stages of spiritual advancement, which is given primarily explained in Chaitanya Charitamrita. So I'm taking inspiration from there and deriving these topics. So the role of reason in bhakti while practicing devotional service, since there are 3 stages of spiritual advancement, let us see what is the role of reason or intelligence in each of these stages. So using reason to know Krishna, using reason to serve Krishna, and transcending reason to love Krishna. So these are the three titles that we will explore. This corresponds to Sambandha Gyan, Abhidheya Tattva, and Prayojana Tattva. So the first one we will take up is Sambandha Gyan, which is the using reason to know Krishna. as devotees, we are prescribed in the path of bhakti. What is the easy way to know Krishna? Because Krishna is not knowable by our own efforts, by our own intelligence. We take guidance from Guru, Sadhu, and Shastra. Because the Supreme Lord is Adokshaja. Adakshaja means Adokshaja. One meaning is Aksha is words, Ja is that is born. So the knowledge that is born from Akshaja means Aksha is eyes and Ja is the knowledge born of eyes. So perception. So the knowledge born of perception, Adaha, one who defeats the knowledge born out of senses. So Aksha is only a representation. It could be knowledge born of ears, eyes, seeing, hearing, touching, all these kind of knowledge developed. So Akshaja, Adaha means one who defeats the knowledge that is acquired by the senses. So he stands above the knowledge of the senses. He is not reachable by the sensory knowledge, perceptions, or knowledge or intelligence that is produced out of our own material senses. That is not possible to reach God. So that's why we take shelter of Guru, Sadhu, and Shastra. But Shastra is so many. So how do we decide? So that's why in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya Leela 25:57, Srila Kaviraj Goswami presents this particular verse, which is from Mahabharata. This verse originally is from the Vanaparva of Mahabharata, where Yudhishthira Maharaj is speaking this. तर्कः प्रतिष्ठो श्रुतयो विभिन्ना नासा ऋषिर्यस्य मतं न भिन्नं धर्मस्य तत्त्वं निहितं गुहायं महाजनो येन गतः सुपन्था. So the dry arguments, they are like inconclusive. There is no end to arguing and counter arguing. So since the scriptures are a lot and they prescribe a lot, and the tattva of dharma, the intricacies, the details of religious principles are very difficult to grasp for a neophyte. So, and they are very secret because that is stored in the heart of a great devotee. So, the spiritual knowledge is not available in the books. The spiritual knowledge is secretly stored in the hearts of great devotees. So, only when they show us, we will be able to see those secrets in the scriptures. So that is why we take shelter of Guru to read scriptures. So I'm repeating again, the secrets of the spiritual life are stored not in the books, but in the hearts of a pure devotee. So that is why only by taking shelter of a pure devotee, we will be able to understand the scriptures. Buying books and reading is not all. So to know Krishna ultimately is not just about reading things, it is about serving and hearing from a Guru who bases everything based on this Shastra. So this is how we use our intelligence by very scrutinizingly studying the Shastras, trying to understand the essence of the Shastras by hearing from Guru and personally studying and then trying to hear understand it through the sadhus. In this way, we try to get the balanced perspective and the dharmasya tattvam nihitam guhayam, that secret understanding of spiritual life, we try to gather it by serving the spiritual master. So this is how we use reason or intelligence to know Krishna. So we don't know Krishna, we only can know him through the knowledge that we receive from Guru, Sadhu and Shastra. So this is how we use knowledge in the level of Sambandha Jnana. So there is reason applied in knowing Krishna. The next level is using reason or intelligence to serve Krishna. Because knowing Krishna is one thing, but serving Krishna another thing. It is like one knows honey is sweet, and he can go around and speak to everyone and like propagate to everyone that honey is sweet. But tasting honey personally is a complete different experience. So just hearing that honey is sweet and repeating it to others is good. There is nothing wrong. It's truth. However, one also has to have to taste the honey to experience it really so that his sharing will be much more authentic. So that is why here in the in the Padma Puran the verse comes. This is also quoted from Chaitanya Charitamrita. Atah Shri Krishna Namadi na bhaved grahyam indriyahi sevon mukhehi jihvado swayameva spuratyadaha. This verse is quoted by Rupa Goswami in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. So to show the transcendental nature of the names and glories of Krishna. So na bhaved grahyam indriya. They cannot be grasped just by our own senses or intelligence born out of our senses. Sevon mukhehi jihvadav. Only by serving Krishna, swayam eva spuratyadaha. Krishna will reveal himself. So to know Krishna to some extent is to just understand how great is Krishna. But for us to really experience the greatness of Krishna or to understand how wonderful Krishna is, we need to serve Krishna. So only through the service we will be able to understand, because through service Krishna reveals himself. So sevon mukhehi jihvadav, and that service begins with tongue, by by chanting the holy names of Krishna, by honoring the prasad offered to Krishna and speaking about the glories of Krishna. So in this way, when one serves Krishna and his devotees by through his tongue, beginning with his tongue, then the glories of Krishna can be naturally revealed. So that is why serving Krishna is very crucial. So knowing Krishna itself is very rare. Bahunam janmanamante jnanavan mam prapadyate vasudevah sa sarvamati sa mahatma sudurlabham. So just to understand Krishna itself takes many lifetimes. So the next level is service, which is also very rare. Seva vaikunta vartamasu. So durapahi alpatapasa, it is said in the Bhagavatam, durapahi alpatapasa. One who has meager pious credits will never get a chance to serve the devotees who are on their path back to the Vaikunta. Seva Vaikunta Vartamasu. So those who are already on the path of Vaikunta, the pure devotees, their service is not easily achieved without enough austerities. So now let us see this topic, how we use intelligence to serve Krishna in the process of that is called Abhidheya Tattva. The second Tattva, which is Abhidheya, how is reason or intelligence used in this path of Bhakti in the stage of Abhidheya? So there are multiple subtopics here. So I will directly go into each topic. So one can only serve one master, because we all have in this world, when a person's senses are uncontrolled, he has multiple masters. Like Prahlad Maharaj explains how each of these senses, when they are uncontrolled, drags him in different directions. So similarly, when one is uncontrolled, then all his senses becomes his master. The eyes are pulling in one direction, the ears are pulling in one direction, wanting to taste different things, want to hear different things, want to see different things, want to speak different things. So in this way, our senses control us. And then there is mind also. So in this way, there is not one master and there is so many masters. And then we want to accept Krishna as a master, because serving Krishna means what? Accepting him as master. Who serves the other? The servant serves the master. So if we want to serve Krishna and we also want to serve our senses, it does not work, because one can only serve one master. So mind control versus sense control, the topic is, generally people think, okay, if I have to control my mind or my, generally, like if you just want to control my impulses, then first engage in sense control, like don't see this, don't do this. So this kind of jadashamanti means those people who are less intelligent, actually they try to control their impulses by controlling the senses directly. Like, okay, if I look at this, I'm getting agitated, so just cover my eyes, like I'm not going to see anymore, I'm not going to hear anymore. That does not work. Some yogis do those kind of severe austerities to control their senses. But intelligent people, they actually work on the mind, because mind is the leader of all the senses. if we control mind, then senses are naturally controlled. So that's why it is said, fight the archer, not the arrows, because the archer is the one who's releasing the arrows. So if an arrow hits us, we don't fight the arrows, but we go and actually fight the archer. So similarly here, the mind who's supposed to control the senses, if it is not controlling, then the senses go here and there. So instead of controlling the senses, let us control the mind. When the mind is controlled, naturally the senses are controlled. So that is the hierarchy that Krishna gives in the Bhagavad Gita, third chapter, 42nd verse. That how there is general matter, above the matter there are senses, above the senses there is mind, above the mind there is intelligence, and above the intelligence there is the soul. So that hierarchy Krishna gives in the third chapter Bhagavad Gita, 42nd verse. So, and how do we control the mind? It is by giving the higher taste. So the highest taste is taste of Krishna, and by focusing on saying yes to Krishna through service and remembrance, we can gradually control our mind. So giving higher taste is not just eating gulab jamuns, but it is also to internally give a higher taste to the mind. So feeding something tasty can keep us satisfied for a while, but our mind is not easily satisfied. So for the mind to be satisfied, it has to come in touch with Krishna. Otherwise, it is not possible. Artificial slogans of I am very satisfied. You get up in the morning and then you affirm yourself. I am very satisfied. I am very satisfied. I am very, very satisfied. You can sing and dance about that, but it's not going to work like that. Mind is not so easy. Just by affirming, with mind will not get satisfied. It has to have something tangible to feel satisfied. So that the most tangible thing for the mind to be satisfied is Krishna. So putting Krishna in touch with our minds is the only way for our minds to be satisfied. So that happens through service, not just physically moving our hands and legs, but also internally keeping Krishna in touch with our minds by remembering him in our various day-to-day activities, and the purpose, the intentions of our activities. By remembering Krishna, we can be satisfied. So in this way, once when we decide which master to serve, mind or the senses or Krishna. So when we choose a master as Krishna, then only the service can begin. We have to consciously say, I am not a servant of my senses. I am a servant of Krishna. So this we need to affirm in the morning. Okay, I don't want to be the servant of my senses or my mind. I want to be a servant of Krishna. So let me engage my mind in the service of Krishna. So whenever we say service, then service is not cannot be divorced from the concept of surrender. So serving Krishna with mind and senses consciously under the guidance of Guru, Sadhu and Shastra requires another important thing. Choosing that's favorable for a relationship with Krishna and rejecting that is unfavorable for a relationship with Krishna. So this is a central aspect if we want to serve Krishna, because there is going to be options every day, every moment for us to choose between things. So if we have to choose, then the choice has to be right. So we can say, oh, people sometimes ask, if choice is everything, then why Krishna has created so many wrong choices in this world? Why there is plenty of wrong choices? Come on, that is how any examination is. No, you don't go to a multiple choice examination and then there are like 5 right answers and 1 wrong answer in a multiple choice question. No, multiple choice question means there is 1 right answer and there are more wrong answers. So for us to have an understanding of, if you have the understanding of the subject, you will be able to see what is right and what is wrong. So if we know Krishna, if we understand what is matter, what is spirit, hear from Guru and refine our intelligence, then when there are choices, we should exercise that intelligence. So Krishna is giving us examination every moment and we are failing continuously by making the wrong choice. So we can say why there are so many wrong choices. Come on, if you are understanding intelligently, then choose Krishna, choose the right choice. Why do you choose the bad choice? And don't blame it on God for presenting so many wrong choices. So the examination is supposed to check our intelligence. So Here the intelligence, how it is tested in the process of surrender is when we choose the right thing, what is favorable for our relationship with Krishna. What is our relationship? Our relationship with Krishna is a servant. So for being a servant, we need to make that, for that, in that relationship, we have to choose what is favorable for our service to Krishna and reject what is unfavorable for our service to Krishna. That is the first and the second steps in surrender. So sometimes that surrender may have to be faith over reason, because something looks very attractive to me. Something looks so attractive to me, so pleasurable to my senses. Still, I understand. Krishna tells in Bhagavad Gita, this is looking very nectar in the beginning, but it will be poison at the end. So I'm not going to do this. This may be looking poison like in the beginning, but it will end as nectar. Krishna is saying, so okay, let me engage in this. Guru is saying, this is the right thing to do, so let me do this, even though it is very, very difficult externally. So sometimes in the process of surrender, or always, I would say, in the process of surrender, one needs to have faith over reason. So we use reason as long as it is helping us go close to Krishna. But at some point of time, we may have to choose faith over reason. And so far, we have been using our intelligence to serve Krishna. So any master is not a perfect master if he is not able to reciprocate with a servant. So Krishna is the perfect master. So we can see how much Krishna would be reciprocal than any other masters of this world. So here Madhavendra Puri, he states like how I have served my senses and the mind for a long time, but they don't have any mercy. They never feel satisfied. They never give me retirement. Don't give me any benefits. So I've been serving Krishna. Sorry, I've been serving my senses for a long, long time. I'm just not able to recollect that verse at this point of time. So similarly, we have been serving our senses and the mind for a long time, and so many other people in this world for a long time. But never they get satisfied, never they give us retirement. Never the mind and senses feel, okay, I am satisfied, you just focus on Krishna now, I will not disturb you. That never happens. So however, Krishna is such a master that as much as we engage our intelligence in Krishna, Krishna gives us intelligence. So this intelligence is much more substantial because it is coming from Krishna directly, and that is called realization, that is called real conviction, that is called the ability to, that gives us the ability to transcend the modes. Samam chayo vyavacharena bhakti yogena sevate sagunan samarpitaitan brahma bhuyaya kalpate. So when we practice sincerely devotional service, we get the ability to transcend the modes. So we can say, oh, I'm so much affected by modes, how can I be sincere? No, Krishna is saying, you show your sincerity and then I'll give you the ability to transcend the modes. We can say, first pass me in the examination and then I will study. It does not work like that. First, we have to study, give the examination, then we will get the credits. So, when we engage in Krishna's service by choosing Him as the master, by controlling our minds, by engaging in our minds in Krishna's service, remembering Him, and especially choosing what is favorable and rejecting what is unfavorable, in that way we surrender to Krishna, then Krishna is saying, Tesham satata yuktanam, those people who are continuously engaged, bhajatam priti purvakam, they are engaging with love in my devotion service, I give them knowledge. Dadami buddhi yogam tam yena mam upayantite. I give them the understanding by which they can come to me. Even if they don't understand everything of the philosophy, everything of this world, and they are like simple hearted, still, if they are continuously controlling their minds and engaging in my service, then I am reciprocal. I'm not like a Krishna is not like a stone. Krishna is not the day some people say, oh, deity is stone. No, deity is not just stone. Deity is the same Supreme Lord who is reciprocal. Dadami buddhi yogam tam. He is giving back intelligence. You invest little intelligence in Krishna's service, he gives you back more, double fold, 100 folds, unlimited number of times. Depending on our sincerity, everything is reciprocal with Krishna. If we are half-hearted in our service, if we are half-hearted in our mind control, if we are half-hearted in our remembrance of Krishna, then that is what we will receive back. So if we give our everything in trying to please Krishna, then Krishna gives much more. He gives the Dami Buddhi Yogantam. He gives the intelligence with which we can ultimately reach him. So in this way, we serve Krishna with intelligence. We know to know Krishna, we use intelligence, and to serve Krishna, we use intelligence. And Krishna gives back us this Buddhi Yoga, the yoga, the devotion, sorry, the intelligence with which we can connect to Krishna. And now the last stage. Can someone help me with time? What is the time?
It's 7:47.
10:45. Okay, I'll be very quick. So transcending reason to love Krishna is the next topic, which is on the level of prayojan. What is the role of reason? So we saw, we will speak about surrendering to Krishna, transcending reason, and the concept of rasa. So when we say faith over reason, in practice, we have to sometimes choose faith over reason, like how I was explaining. Things look very pleasing to our senses, but still we reject them and choose what was told to us. So there we go, or reject reason over faith. And also in terms of perfection, at the level of perfection, there is another level of rejecting reason or transcending reason. So here, a great example is Bali Maharaj. He was actually very, with reason, he was presented by his Guru Shukracharya that why he should not surrender to Krishna or why he should not do what Vaman Dev is asking him to do. So that is actually surrendering. Still, in spite of hearing that, Bali Maharaj shows that it was very reasonable what Shukracharya was saying. But here still he had the faith that if I give anything to Lord Vishnu, that is going to be much more beneficial for me than just keeping it for myself. So, so there he transcended reason, and he's a Mahajan by teaching us that in practice and in perfection, a time will come where we have to transcend reason, transcend intelligence. That does not seem to be very reasonable. We have to engage in that because that is the call of Krishna to love him. So we see Srila Prabhupada did that. There was no logical reasoning for a 70-year-old man to go to an unknown country without any historical example, without a previous example like that, somebody doing still, and he did not know anybody, he did not know the local culture, still he had faith in the orders of his spiritual master. So it was not a very reasonable expectation from his spiritual master or the Lord for him in asking him to execute this. It is not a very well researched path. So it was the unknown path, and which seemed very unreasonable. To that extent, Sumati Morarji was not giving the ticket to Srila Prabhupada. He said, I don't want to kill you by sending you there. So she was thinking, this old man, how can I send him? He is like my father. How can I actually send him knowing that it's a very tough place? So she also told Srila Prabhupada, she was literally crying at one point, how can I send you there? Because you may die. It's very cold. The place is very cold. And you don't know the people. But Srila Prabhupada transcended the reason to accept the call of surrender there and to show love to Krishna by surrendering to his order. So here, so if intelligence alone can take us to Krishna, then it will be superior to Krishna. So if intelligence alone is explaining, then that would be higher than Krishna. So that is not true because Krishna is superior to our intelligence. So at some point, surrender involves surrendering our intelligence also. So at one point where our intelligence cannot take us to Krishna, our devotion can take us to Krishna. So we give up our intelligence and completely take shelter of the devotion that can only take us to Krishna. And Srila Prabhupada is the perfect example. Even though he intelligently prepared himself for the journey, he wrote a book, he published it so that he had credibility as as a spiritual teacher who has some teachings to present. He did everything possible very intelligently. He arranged things. Somehow he pushed Gopal Agarwal's father, and he, some by Krishna's arrangement, his endeavor and Krishna's mercy, things happen. He intelligently prepared as much as possible. Ultimately, he fully dependent on Krishna. Where it was not possible just for his intelligence to figure out, he fully depended on Krishna and wrote that prayer in Jaladuta. I am a puppet in your hands. Please make me dance as you like. I don't know why you have brought me here. So he did not understand. It did not make sense. It was not clear, but Prabhupada was still ready to surrender. That is transcending reason to the call of love by Krishna. And on a very highest stage in the spiritual world, also the reason takes a back seat in the pastimes of Krishna. So the Rasa Tattva is the hallmark of Gaudiya Vaishnava philosophy. I think I'm running out of time, so I'll keep it brief now at this point. So the Rasa Tattva is the Gaudiya Vaishnava philosophy's hallmark. There is the concept of rasa in other Vaishnava sampradayas like Sri Vaishnava Sampradaya and other sampradayas. But to tattva, to put it as a tattva, to explain the science of it, that is very unique to Gaudiya Vaishnava philosophy, and thanks to the contribution of Srila Rupa Goswami. So he is that is why he is here. The Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu is a rasa shastra because he very scientifically delineates the concept of rasa there, which is very unique in the in the Vaishnava philosophy. Specifically, it is available only in the Gaudiya Vaishnava tradition. And in rasa, we see not just the devotee transcends reason. So the devotee forgets the knowledge that Krishna is God, and they rather treat him as son or friend or master or lover. So in this way, the devotee actually transcends the intelligence or the knowledge of Godhood of Krishna. However, in this state of experiencing mellows, experiencing rasa, Krishna himself forgets his godhood. He himself forgets the knowledge of he being God. He is Satchitananda. Chit means one who understands everything. He is the embodiment of all intelligence, all knowledge, and he forgets the knowledge of his godhood to experience love. So, not just the devotee in the highest stage transcends law, transcends intelligence or reason or knowledge, but Krishna himself transcends the knowledge to experience the relationship that he has with the devotee. So that the sweetness overcomes the knowledge or the logic. So logic does not hold in the spiritual world as the primary thing. Like the scientists try to understand, analyze the pastures. So we as devotees also sometimes think we're asking questions in pastures. Why that happened? Why did not Radharani and the gopis travel to Mathura? It was only a few kilometers. Today we just go in a car like in half an hour. So why they waited for 100 years? They could have just even for a few years that Krishna lived there. Why did they wait? They could have just walked down the path. They would be quickly in Mathura. They would have met Krishna. So it may sound illogical, but bhakti is actually translogical. There is a understanding of there is an understanding why this happens beyond just the normal reasoning. So there is the deeper concepts of rasa happening there. So the way I end with one shloka of Brahmaji who says Brahmaji's intelligence personified. His body is considered to be made or by intelligence. There are, in the sense, he is invested completely with the intelligence, to the highest degree for any living entity in this world, for the sake of creating this particular world. So he is praying that you have no material qualities, Krishna, and you are inconceivable. And our minds cannot catch you by speculation. Our words fail to describe you. Still, we offer our respectful obeisance to you. Just because our words fail to describe you, our minds cannot reach you, doesn't mean we focus our mind and senses in something else. No, Nama Mahe Deva Varam Varenyam. Still, we worship you, we offer our obeisances to you, and we glorify you. That's all we know we can do. We offer our respectful obeisance to you. Namanta Eva. Jnane prayasa mudapasya namanteva. Giving up that dry speculative intelligence in the process of bhakti is the first step. That is the first step that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu accepted in the Ramaraj Samvad. So Jnane prayasam, giving up mundane intelligence, dry intelligence to take shelter of Krishna. And while taking shelter of Krishna, it does not mean we have to be a stupid. We can intellectually apply ourselves to the intelligently apply ourselves to the process of Krishna consciousness by studying Shastras scrutinizingly under the guidance of Guru and Sadhu, and serving Krishna by controlling our minds and senses with the help of intelligence, by choosing that is favorable to Krishna. And finally, where reason cannot take us, where intelligence cannot take us, we go with devotion to surrender to the call of love by Krishna. So this is, I conclude my presentation here. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. If there are any questions, what is the time? We are almost out of time. I will.
I have a couple questions in the chat if you want to try and get some.
Okay. So when do we know? Here is a question by Gaur Kumar Prabhu. Thank you, Gaur Kumar Prabhu, for being here. I consider it as a blessing that you're here. When do we know when we have to go with faith and when with reason? Also, in our journey, at what point should we make the transition from reason to faith? Uh, if I quickly can make a comment, in the process of bhakti, it's not that when we say I give up reason, it is, I think it is moment to moment. We can't just at one point of my life, I would say hereafter there is no use of reason. So Srila Prabhupada made the call to go to US. That there he actually transcended reason and completely surrendered to Krishna. But he still continued to use reason wherever it was necessary. So as long as we live in this world, we need to know with maturity and guidance from a Guru, Sadhu and Shastra by studying the lives of previous devotees and also by taking guidance. Where in our everyday life there will be points where we have to give up reason and completely take faith. Like I walk outside the doors of Bhakti Center, I see something very pleasurable to my senses, I use their faith. Okay, this may sound very pleasurable, it may look very pleasurable, I'm not going to go for this. So there I have to give up reason to take shelter of Krishna. And when I go to the store, I have to buy something, the guy may try to cheat me. So there I have to understand what is the right thing for I have to buy for Krishna. There again I have to use intelligence. So we use intelligence in the service of Krishna. But if it stops our service or if it comes in between our way to serve Krishna, then we reject it. So it's like a tool. Like as long as it is helpful, we use it. When it is not helpful, we keep it behind. We use faith. So I would say it's a balance. There is no point where we will completely give up while living in this world. We will use as long as it is necessary for the service. And where it stops us from serving Krishna, then we carefully keep it aside. Does it answer your question, Gautama Prabhu? So I also here see Kulpradeep Prabhu's question. Thank you, Kulpradeep Prabhu, for being here. He's saying sometimes surrendering reason can seem very dangerous. Is there a balance between faith and reason, or can full faith be a full surrender of reason only? I think we discussed the same thing. Like, yes, for sure there is a balance between reason and faith. That balancing aspect is what is favorable for my service to Krishna, and we always take guidance. We always have friends. We always have preceptors from whom we can actually ask. And in our daily lives, that's why the more we control our minds and engage in Krishna service, Krishna himself is going to give us that maturity. That buddhi yogam that Krishna gives is called as maturity. That does not come without paying a price. So that price comes from by engaging in the service sincerely. Can full faith be a full surrender of reason only? No, full faith does not mean we completely give up reason. As I said, Prabhupada surrendered fully. He transcended reason to come to US, which was unreasonable for an old man to come. But while being here, he was very astute in dealing with the different lawyers who were trying to cheat or in trying to propagate the mission, understanding the culture, and accordingly making adjustments. He was always, through his intelligence, was in touch with Krishna, and Krishna was giving him the intelligence. Dadami Buddhi Yogam. Thank you for those questions. I think it's already time for the darshan, so we can go. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai.